Elizabeth and Catherine of Two Sisters Writing and Publishing, and we are so thrilled today on Facebook Live to have our first published author, Herman Williams, MD, author of Clear, Living the Life You Didn't Dream of, and he's coming to us live from Nashville, Tennessee. Welcome, Herman.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody.
Thank you. So we want to jump right in and hear why you decided to write a book, Herman. So many people want to, but you have a very special story.
Well, I guess that's one of the reasons why is people kept telling me it was such a special story, and it's not because it was me. It was just because of the multiple trauma and the life-threatening illnesses that I was faced with. And with the support of my wife and my family, we were able to continually overcome them. And as I told that story, people just said, "Oh my God, you gotta document that so other folks can hear about your story and learn from it."
So in a nutshell, you literally died about 26 years ago. You
I
literally, your
literally
heart.
died 26 years ago. My heart stopped. It was a full code on a basketball court. And fortunately, there were, uh, maybe 9 physician residents who started CPR immediately. So I was fortunate, but they brought me back.
They brought you back. The amazing medical staff in Seattle brought you back, and your dear wife, then your fiance, Jeannie, essentially nursed you back to health because it really put you at the edge of death's door even as you were recovering.
It
And
literally put me at death's door. I lost 35 pounds. I couldn't walk because I'd been in the hospital for so long in the bed, and literally she nursed me back to health like a little baby to getting back to shape where I could actually hold a job. And there was a period of time where we didn't know I was 100% disabled, and together we got ourselves together and came back. And fortunately, the book talks about that very long journey, which included being a part of an experimental trial using at that time, the implantable surgical defibrillator, and the trials and tribulation of that while we tried to come up with the correct medication dosage. And my defibrillator was firing all the time, at least a couple of times a month, which just was incompatible with life, basically. So we just kept experimenting with drugs, trying to find the right drug to calm my arrhythmia down so that I could live a normal life.
Herman,
So
what
we
was it
lived
like
through all
when
that.
your what did it feel like when your defibrillator fired?
Well, let me start with what I was told it would feel like. When they got me into the trial, they said, "Oh, it just feels like a strong hiccup." So I'm still looking for that doctor today to try and let him know. It feels like you're getting kicked by a horse. I mean, literally from the inside, it is just, it's hard to describe, but it is incredibly painful. And it strikes without warning. The only warning you might get is you might feel kind of a little thrill because your heart speeds up, and then boom, the shock.
so, Herman, not only did you undergo extreme physical pain, but you had depression, PTSD. It was emotionally traumatic for you. And the message in your book is that over many years, you had to find peace with your situation and reinvent yourself. So rather than become the orthopedic surgeon that you dreamed about and prepared at the best schools in America to become, you are now a hospital executive with national impact, and you're really touching more lives in a day than you would as a surgeon. So can you talk about how your message is that you can reinvent yourself and come out bigger and better than the God or whatever higher power you believe has destined for your life?
All right, well, you summed it up. What she said. You did a great job. I think the message is, we all have a path, and it's tough to accept the fact that maybe a path you prepared for all your life is not the one that you're supposed to be on. So the book talks about that. It talks about really when I was disabled, thinking about what are the options, what other strengths do I have, how can I parlay those strengths. I was able to do that. I went back to school, trained myself for a different profession, and actually found out that I was probably better at that, which essentially was dealing with physicians and organizing physicians and being a leader, an administrative leader representing physicians, than I was as a surgeon. And so, as you just mentioned, I touch, we have 16 hospitals in 12 states. I touch so many more people and have such a larger impact than I would have had as one surgeon, a patient at a time. And so I'm literally living the life I never dreamed of, and it was even more powerful and impactful than I could ever imagine.
So, Herman, Catherine and I are so honored to present your story to the world through our company, Atkins and Greenspan Writing. And we're so grateful that you selected us. Can you tell our viewers why you chose to work with a ghostwriter or ghostwriters as opposed to attempting to do the book yourself?
Okay, well, I did attempt to do the book myself. And again, this is really accepting and understanding, are you the right person to write the book? Being a physician and really being honest with myself, my writing was very scientific. It wasn't very engaging. I have to say, of course, Elizabeth, it's just ironic the way you and I met each other through LinkedIn, but from the very first time we started talking, you understood the message that I was trying to deliver and that spiritual message, and it worked out better having you interview me for 14, 15 hours and really capturing the story, but being able to say, as a writer, as an accomplished writer, here's the story I think people will grab onto. And as I reflect now on the finished product, there's just no way I could have conveyed it in the way that you did, and thank you for that blessing. We're just getting great feedback on the book is fast paced. It just starts and just keeps running. And one other thing that you added to it is this concept of us giving people actually a workbook at the end of the book so that they have stuff to work on. They can actually use their own situations and plug in the questions and actually develop really a plan for themselves if they're going through a serious life crisis or illness.
Right. And Catherine and I coined the term how-to memoir because it tells your life story, but it's also a how-to book. And there's a very important tool that you provide to your readers. Tell us about what is that tool?
Well, I think there are really two main things that I'd like people to leave with after they've read the story. One is that I developed an understanding of what I think my life's mission is through surviving cardiac arrest and a stroke, is that my mission in life is to attempt to make sure that everyone I come in contact with is better off in some way, either how they feel about themselves, a smile, in some way after they interact with me and leave me. And I really work on that every day. The second message is, God, it is so pertinent today with what we're experiencing with all the divisiveness and all the fear in our society today, is that really kindness is a basis for leveling the playing field between all of us with different experiences and different beliefs in how we should be running the society. But treating each other with kindness, I think, brings us together. And so I actually developed a kindness scale that is starts out with a level 1, which is just a very basic smile, all the way up through doing actions, all the way up to the most complex level of kindness you can display, which I've experienced, is someone giving you CPR and putting yourself at risk. And I have one other friend who I know personally who actually donated her kidney to her daughter, and another woman my wife told me about, who is a friend of hers in her Bible study, who donated an organ to someone she did not even know. So you can imagine these acts of kindness just totally turn the conversation into one of respect. Then we can begin to talk about what are our politics, what are our beliefs, and how we want to run the society. But if we don't have respect for each other and kindness, we can't even get to the table.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Catherine, you've discovered some things about Herman's book that are special. What would you like to share?
I believe that the greatest gift is the kindness scale because it is so basic. I can't see how anyone would read about the kindness scale and not want to at least commit to doing one level one act of kindness every day. And I think, go ahead.
Well, it has a boomerang effect because when you do something nice for someone, even if it's holding the door for a stranger and you see the smile on their face, it makes you feel chills of joy. Literally, I feel chills of joy thinking about those moments, which I have a lot of because I was already committed to doing kind things throughout the day. That's why Herman and I clicked so profoundly upon our first phone conversation. I was in Detroit, he was in Nashville. It's really remarkable. But once you commit to a purpose and a passion, people come into your life to help you achieve your goal. And this partnership that we have cultivated over several years now has really epitomized that because we brought our gift of writing and storytelling to the table. You brought your amazing story to the table. And together we present this incredible book that can be applied to anybody, not just who had an illness, but a divorce, financial ruin, job loss, you name it, anything. So Herman, thank you. We are extremely proud to publish your book.
It's my blessing to have met you. And the irony is you and I think, worked together for a year before we even met each other in person.
Right.
The spiritual bond there. And so I appreciate that. I encourage everybody, write your story. And please reach out to Two Sisters Publishing to help you reach that goal.
Thank you. So Herman, thank you for being with us today. There's obviously more to discuss, so we'll have you back on and we'll let everybody know when you'll be back on. But check in with us again next Friday, and Fridays throughout 2018 at 2:12 p.m. Eastern for 12 minutes. We're live author interviewers. Let's write your book now with Two Sisters Writing and Publishing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Have a great day.